Ready for this? In a 2005 WRX Wagon with a last one fast one of 37.958 with a pass of 30.746.124 ahead of Jose. Eddie, come on down.
Thank you. Hey, so we're on our way over to the New York Region SCCA Autocross award ceremony at Skip Barber Racing Facility in Holbrook. We're going to see some our friends we haven't seen in a while, go get our awards for final season placements. We do a little bit of sim racing. We took first place in the street touring class for the New York region, which I'm super excited about. The way that our region does final season long championship scoring is combining the major classes and not using the subdivisions for awards. So there is no BST award or GS award or CS award. Street touring, outlaw, novice, and cam classes. And we were participating in the street touring class where we were in one of the more favorable PAX cars. I'm in a 2005 WRX Wagon, which is a PAX modifier for GST of, I think it was 0.810 for this season. Even though our road times are slower, sometimes, we were able to get enough points and enough wins throughout the season to take home first place in the New York region. This is only my second full season doing autocross. I started in October of 2023 with this car, completely bone stock. Continental all seasons and stock everything. It was such a fun experience to start doing right before my son was born in October. After those few runs I did at the end of 2023, I was instantly hooked. I probably should have ran stock for a while longer in this car, but I decided to just jump straight into the street touring class in 2024. I did some basic suspension upgrades right off the bat. I did coilovers, I did sway bars, and I also did wheels and tires. And in 2024, I didn't do half bad. I got top 5 a lot of the time. There's usually a field of anywhere from 10 to 20 that show up for the street touring class specifically. Way more than that if you got all the other cars. And in the middle of 2024, I decided to do a little bit of engine upgrades. Went to Vinny 10 Racing. They got me a downpipe intercooler, air intake, and a fresh tune, which put me at a wheel horsepower at that point of 231 wheel horsepower, which bone stock, these WRXs are rated for, I don't know if on the factory 20 years ago, 227 at the crank, which is way less at the wheel. The fact that our wheel horsepower exceeded the crank horsepower of the stock engine, and we were making a lot more power. It was that first run I did in 2024 after getting those upgrades, I felt like it was a completely different car. I felt like we were flying. I think another one of my limiting factors was probably my tire choice in that season, where I went with 225s on a 7.5 wheel. In my class, GST, which back last season was STH, I was allowed to have, and I'm still allowed to have, 9-inch wheel with 245 tires. I was also running the Falcon RT660s, which I love them. They were great. They were able to, I placed really high with them when I was running them, and I was still new to it. And I bet if I ran them again this season, I'd still be pretty good on them. But this season, I switched over to the ones that everyone runs, the Bridgestones, the RE71 RSs, the Potenzas. And, this season kicked off and we were fast. Also, when I bought the coilovers for that 2024 season, I didn't do too much research on what spring rates I want to run or dampening or anything like that. I went online, went to the Naziok forums for Imprezas. It seemed like a lot of people really liked the field coilovers, so I decided to get the field 441 pluses because those came with the Swift springs, and I just went with the default spring rate. I went with the 7K in the front, 5K in the rear. Before the 2025 season kicked off, I felt like the car could use stiffer components, including the springs. So I went online, I did a little more research, learned about suspension a little bit about natural frequencies. So plugging in my car's weight, give or take, based on some information online and based on the max frequency I could run without any aero, I decided to run 12K front springs and 10K rear spring. And the other major change I made for the 2025 season was switching from those 7.5-inch wide wheels to 9-inch wide wheels and upping my tire size from 225 to 245. I was obsessed with reading all the tire rack tire reviews and testing based on different wheel sizes and all the different combinations of what just gains a little bit more time. And it seemed like I really needed to get that wider wheel and just make the car work around it. That wider wheel wouldn't have worked with the stock suspension because the stock suspension is so much wider than the coilovers are, so the coilovers just give you a little more clearance, it looks like. So I threw those 9-inch wheels on and we just cleared. This whole time I was doing alignments in my driveway, jack stands, trying to dial in what I can do, frozen tie rods, the whole 9 yards, trying to fix it. But between those combination of those two things and me just getting better over the 2024 season, I showed up to that first event in 2025 and it was crazy how much faster the car felt. I felt really good for the 2025 season and we kept it up. Got a total of 7 wins throughout the season at over 13 events, 6 of them being at the SCCA events, which got me that street touring championship. But also during the season, I decided to make a couple extra upgrades now that the car was handling really good, was winning, had way more grip. I caught myself constantly having to grab onto my seat. The stock seat has a little bit of side bolstering, but not much at all compared to an actual bucket seat. So I went to Stable Energies over in New Jersey and they have seats you could try out. You could sit in them. Everyone at all the autocross events recommended going in Stable Energies in New Jersey because you could sit in them and you can, I'm not a small guy. I got to see how I fit in those seats. I'm sure if I would have measured correctly, I would have been able to, come up with something, but it was so much better just being able to sit in the seat and also be able to throw it right in the back of the wagon. It's one of the advantages of racing a wagon, I guess, is you can bring your seat home in the trunk. At some point in that whole mix, I threw some Hawk HPS pads in there. Felt like I should have some autocross pads. It feels like the stopping is more responsive, but I'm still new to all this. It's not always immediate to me, like when there's a change and how it exactly affects the car, because I'm learning. I'm getting better each time, and who knows if the pads were helping me brake a little better, or if I was just learning how to brake a little better. So I'd say that's where it leaves us today with the end of the 2025 season. But on the off season, I went back over to the Vinny 10 because I felt like there was a little more power that could be had out of this. When I first did my power upgrades, I didn't initially go for an exhaust or an odd pipe. Everything I read online said it wasn't really going to get me much, but I think I read it wrong when I was originally doing it. Because in my class you can't do any fuel injectors or bigger turbos or anything like that. People say you'll get more gains from doing other things before you do your exhaust. But if you're limited in your class, kind of like the street touring class is, you're still going to get gains out of doing the exhaust. I went back to Vinny 10 Racing, I got the exhaust, got a new tune, and now we're sitting at 247 wheel horsepower, up from 231 from before. So that's 247 at the wheels. With all-wheel drive losses, I would assume that's got to be over 300 crank somewhere. 310 maybe. Let's call it 300 to be safe. But this thing moves now, and I can't wait to see how it does in the beginning of the 2026 season with all these new power upgrades. I got a fresh new set of the Bridgestones that I threw on with no runs on them yet that we're gonna test out hopefully soon. And while I was at Vinny 10, I also did a couple of other upgrades like wheel studs, stainless steel brake lines, that kind of thing. So that's where we kind of are today after doing all the upgrades and winning the 2025 championship, which I'm so excited about. I want to keep running in this club. Everyone over here at the New York region on Long Island is so nice. Everyone was so welcoming when I first started, and I encourage anyone who's ever even thought about doing it to come try it out. It's not that bad on your car. I ran it with all seasons the first time, and I came in I think like 10th or 13th in the novice class the first time I did it. Who cares? Come out and try it. I've seen every car you can imagine out there. I'm going to keep running all these New York region events as much as I can, and I want to branch out a little bit too. I want to try to get over to the northern New Jersey region and maybe take on my first track day or two this year. I got 3 little kids at home and time is limited. Oh, and if you want really good pictures and videos to your car too. I started getting more into photography as I've been doing this too, so I like to think I've been getting some good pictures of people's cars, making people happy with videos and pictures. And if you want a cool video of your car flying around the parking lot at 60 miles an hour, you should come out and do one of these events and I'll try to get a picture of you. Or one of the other photographers who also do amazing shots. got a race alignment from Raceline here on Long Island, and they did a great job getting my car into alignment. It was pretty funny seeing how out of spec my alignment was, but it drives so much better afterwards.
First place in street touring, Eddie. The king of packs.